Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatye Namaha. Om Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vishlavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Buddhirupena Samsthita Namastasyai 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 Namo Namaha. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. Hi, everyone. We're so happy to be together again. Can I just see how many attended last year? Excellent. And how many brought a friend this year? And who is attending for the first time? Wow, we're so blessed. Now, we are getting a chance to reflect on the topic, blessed to be a Bhakta. And then really lovely thing about all of us coming together is, Shubhaniji mentioned today that every Devi, she shines in her own way, makes it so special, and all of us get to approach her in whichever way so we need as a seeker, as a Bhakta. And one of the things that we see in this camp is every Devi is bringing her own special brilliance to what is happening here. We're benefiting from so many different teachers, everyone being able to express and share in their own unique way. And then all of your reflections, all of your devotion, which also expresses in different ways, the sevaks. So all of these are just different ways we can also understand that same principle. That so many things are happening because each of us is not in a sense of competition, but in a sense of collaboration and cooperation, and how beautiful that makes everything, really. So, this topic, blessed to be a Bhakta, we've been seeing it through Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and we're going to see a few verses tonight also, but we'll also be really looking at the different compositions of the women saints. Some of them you can see in all of the quotes. You'll be reading also, we're reading together Sant Janabai's life. And what we are finding is that, through their words, we get a real sense of, there's one thing, see, if our parents are teaching us how to ride a bike, there's one element of it where you have to understand at least the parts of a bike. There's two wheels, there's something called a pedal, and you have to move the pedals and all of that. They can show us, But actually getting on the bike and riding it is another matter altogether. But you need both. If someone doesn't show you what a bike is, what it can do, then it'll just be like a lawn ornament, But until we also get the sense of balance, get the sense of our own effort, then also our knowledge is incomplete. So both are needed. So when we see the compositions of these great saints, we get a sense of that, how they rode the bike. Meaning that we have the knowledge from our Guru, but how they lived it, put it into practice. And what's amazing also, we see that they all went through very many different circumstances. Later on, not now, but on the back cover, you can see how each of them, some of them were, see, I know everyone will turn, but it's okay, don't worry. Some of them were renunciates, some were queens, like we saw Devi Ahilyabai. Some of them were servants in the home, like we saw Janabai. Some of them were wealthy, some of them were very, materially, they were poor. But yet, they all reached the same place. And sometimes we also feel some people have these external advantages. I maybe lack some of those advantages, or all of these thoughts come into our mind. Maybe if I just had this, then I would be able to do that. But when we see, they came to the same understanding no matter what was happening externally, it really means that internally they had perfect alignment. But that we get to see in their words, you know? So we'll have that joy as well. So first, what is a blessing? Right? Blessing to be a Bhakta. So blessing it generally, we consider it to be anything that gives us a sense of joy or fulfillment. If something does not give a sense of joy or fulfillment, we call it opposite of blessing. Right? Curse, someone said. You know? So, then what are the things we consider to be a blessing? You know, I did a really fun exercise with our chicks where we just asked, what is your pet peeve? You know, they say pet peeve. What do you personally not, like so much? So our first lifting, first love yourself, for lifting yourself, the first one we saw was from pain to persistence, right? We might be thinking, I only know how to be persistently a pain, but I don't know how to be moved from pain to persistence, So we asked, what is your pet peeve? And what was really funny is that everyone had a different one. I remember one of the chicks said, my pet peeve is that if I'm going on the sidewalk and I'm walking, I really don't like it. There's something called social contract. Social contract is, we both know this is how it should go. Okay? So he said, the social contract is, if you're walking on the right, people should pass you on the left. He said, if that doesn't happen, I get upset. Right? So everyone, we can all think, what is my personal pet peeve, I was thinking, what could I say as mine? You know what sometimes I don't like is when people press the corner of the page in a book. Dog ear, because the dog has a little floppy ear. Some people might say, oh, but that's how I read my book. I have to have the dog ear. So one chick, she said, I was talking to my friend and telling her I don't like bell peppers. And a friend was saying, but why? Well, it has a strange texture. It's crunchy. It looks like it's supposed to be hot, but it's not hot. It doesn't have any heat to it. This is why I don't like the bell pepper. Her friend said, but these are all the reasons I love bell peppers. They're crunchy, they're not spicy, but they give nice flavor. So this is what's very funny. If we're trying to count what are our blessings, what is blessing for us might be a curse for someone else. Or we consider ourselves a blessing, but we're a curse for someone. Right? So understanding what is a blessing, that which gives us joy or fulfillment, whatever we consider to be a joy or fulfillment, this is what we become seekers of. And the title of the book is called Woman Seeker. And what's interesting is bhakti comes from the root bhaj. And bhaj, we've heard in the word bhakti. Where is one other place we've heard it many times? If you're in Chinmaya Mission. Bhaja Govindam. There, bhaja means, in bhakti, bhaja means to worship, to love, adore. Right? And in Bhaja Govindam, that same root has been modified into what is imperative, a command. Command is seek, pursue Govinda. So how beautiful that the word bhakti and the word seeking, these two are together. Only difference is in what we are seeking. All of us are seeking blessings. No one wants to seek curse, right? Everyone is seeking that which is going to bring us joy and fulfillment. Question is where we are searching for that. That is the difference between a bhakta and any ordinary person. None of us made big decision, filled out long forms. The other day, I filled out that TSA pre-check. Even that they made it so fast. But no one filled out a big form for us to be born here. We found ourselves here. But yet we have this opportunity to seek something higher. And what is interesting is blessings, can be of two types. One is the blessings we have already. Second type is the blessings we are looking for. Right? There are so many blessings that first and foremost a sense of gratitude makes us aware of. To have blessings is a great gift, but not to be aware of the blessing that we have is a curse. We have loved ones. We have a field for seva, which our Gurudev has given us. We have knowledge. We have a beloved guru, a teacher. We have other bhaktas for our company. We have strength in the body, strong mind. We have health. All of these are great blessings. But when we remain unaware of them, then what happens is our mind, very easily we start to complain. Then that same thing which is a blessing becomes a curse. So, first and foremost, for us to understand how blessed we are to be a bhakta is to recognize the blessing we have. And greatest blessing we saw even last year is to have a guru. There's a very nice, let me see here, where is it? It is in page 55 of our Woman Seeker book. I hope everyone brought it. Otherwise, we are going to read. Can someone lend Jyotiji a copy of it? She has to read the verse. Yeah. Page 55. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I obtained the well of Ram Nam. The Sadguru bestowed this invaluable jewel, and by his kindness made me his own.
So this Mirabai is saying about her guru. And what's interesting? Mirabai has love for Bhagavan Shri Krishna. But she's saying greatest wealth was that guru bestowed upon me the name of Ram. So already we have to, we say, oh, I like Mirabai because she loves Lord Krishna. But Mirabai doesn't have distinction between Lord Ram and Bhagavan Shri Krishna. She sees Lord Rama in her Krishna, or she sees her beloved Bhagavan Shri Krishna in Lord Ram. This part, I think we all know at this point, right? But to feel this great blessing that I got the name of the Lord from my Guru. She counts this amongst her blessings. And in our Guru Paduka Stotram, there was a line that we were reflecting on with the parents. I'll read it for you. Nali kanikasha pada hridabhyam nana vimoha dinivarikabhyam namajjana bhishta tatipradabhyam namo namah Shri Guru Padukabhyam Namo Namah Shri Guru Padukabhyam. So it says, salutations to the Padukas of my beloved Guru. which it attracts our minds, like a lotus. We are attracted to it. And you know what it does? It removes nana vimohadi. We have so many different types of confusions, right? And all of these become removed when we have love for the feet of our Guru. And here, not even feet, padukas, sandals of our Guru. And upon worshipping those padukas, what happens? Sandals doesn't have the same tone. I have to say. We have to say padukas. Then what happens? He removes all of the difficulties of who? Namajjanabhishta. For those who are namajjana means those who have done namaskaram. First of all, he removes that bevy of confusions and then bestows all the desires. But of whom? Those who have bowed down. So this is a riddle for us, okay? And anyway, I hope you all don't mind me jumping around a little. Well, you know what? We'll come to that next, okay? Because Mata Rupa Bhavani, she also mentions that she's seeking Lord's guidance. She says, help me solve this riddle. So what is the riddle here? It says, Guru fulfills all the desires of the ones in whom he has removed all wrong notions and who have bowed to him, right? So does that mean that if I bow to my Guru, he'll give me everything I want? This lottery, we'll get the lottery, okay? Is that what it means? That anything I ask for, suddenly Guru will give? This is a question that we post. And if we think about it, that's why that qualifier is given, one who has bowed down. One who has bowed to the Guru means that intellectually, at least, emotionally, they are surrendering to the Guru. So when we do that and wrong notions are removed, it is the wrong notion actually that gives us the problems that we have, our lack of being able to recognize what blessings we have, and by that time, the types of desires that get fulfilled also are different. Isn't it true? There's a word in that I was curious about. I had asked our Swamiji. There's a word called as sankalpa, and then there's a word called as kama or desire. What's the difference between these two? Sankalpa comes from the root klip. Klip means to imagine. Samyak kalpana. That which is well imagined. Okay? And kama is a desire. So what is imagined is given very nicely in Yoga Vashishta. Idam me astu iti vijnanam yattat kalpanam uchyate. A sankalpa is the thought, let this be mine. And why is the thought, let that be mine? Because I imagine there to be some happiness in that thing. See, imagine if I placed in front of us a set of power tools, or as Swamiji said, a Gucci bag. Actually, I really liked how Swamiji said it. He said Gucci. So, in Tamil they say Gudichi, like you start to jump if you see, So whatever that item is, right? If someone put in front of us some nice, something we really like, and something that we feel very neutrally about, like a set of power tools, okay? Both objects are in front of us, but only one we're going to jump about, right? That object in which we believe that there's some happiness in that. The object that we believe has, not that it has no but I don't care about that. That object I can see with total equanimity. So, sankalpam is the precursor for a kama. We don't develop a desire for something unless the pre-existing condition is that we must think that something that will give us happiness is in that object. Then that sankalpa matures into a kama, desire. Interesting, no? So we are also seekers, but we seek in all worldly things. Because why? That notion that some happiness is there. Then we go on thinking about it, we develop desire for it, we get it. Because not all objects of knowledge become objects of love. We say we love so many things. I love Gucci bag, or I don't think I'm going to say it the other way again. Or I love going to movies, or I love this particular type of sweet, or whatever, we might think. Some of us, many times we think, why do we also have family, children? Because we believe there's some happiness there for me. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya says that the father is called Tat because Tanotiti, because he sees in his child an extension of himself. And our Swamiji says very humorously that we believe that children will be extension for us, but instead they just become extra tension. Right? That sense of expansiveness, that I have grown in some way, that I've become more complete, that gives us that feeling of being blessed, feeling of joy. So those things we continuously run after because we have that thought, there's some joy in that. Now, but there are some caveats to this. This is the problem. Whatever we get, that joy, all of you are from our Puja Gurudev's children only. So we all know that joy is temporary. That joy is short-lived. What brings joy to one person brings difficulty to someone else. We might have to put great effort to get that thing, and only you get that short-lived joy. I heard one comedian, he said very humorously, he said, when we have to go on vacation, so much stress is there. To plan it, then first of all, to find out where to go to vacation, then to plan it. Then if you have kids, I have seen, you go to some nice place, Europe. There are people pushing, it's hot, they're pushing their children, they're screaming, they're tense. So he said, what is my vacation? Is after we've planned everything, we've packed everyone in the car, I put my wife also in the passenger seat, I close the door. Between closing the door and going to my side of the car, that's my vacation. Then when you come back from vacation, you need break from vacation. You say, I'm not ready to go to work yet. I need one day to decompress. So why? Because we imagine some joy there. Then we go there also. We put forth great effort to get that thing. And even when we get it, that joy also is a question mark actually. So this is arising from this sankalpa. So the Bhakta is one in whom they have recognized that anything short-lived or temporary can never be a source of my permanent joy and sense of fulfillment. I'll always feel a sense of incompleteness. Therefore, when we have this opportunity, why not search for the one who will give us infinite joy? Guruji says, we say, Bhagwan, I want all worldly things and I want you also. In fact, he says, Bhagwan is like consolation prize. We say, Bhagwan, no, don't worry. I want you also. You too. But we don't exclusively seek the Lord. So we're all seekers. The question is, what type of seekers are we? Right? And one way to test where do I really, truly have a sense of, belief in my joy is if I don't get it, how much does my mind react? I know some of the t-shirts also, right size was not available. Some people got very tense. It shows I believe my joy is there. So in the not being able to obtain it, that same joy, anticipation of joy, which is in itself a type of joy, became a sorrow. So these great bhaktas, they have done this deep analysis and they feel, no. All of these things, in fact, let us just see how Mirabai has said so beautifully on page 59. You can read the whole thing.
I want nothing short of thee, beloved. I want not the world. Thou art my all. The whole night I pass counting the stars. When shall the hour of joy arrive? Meera's Lord, Giridharanagar, meet me soon and never separate from me. Mine eyes ache for a sight of thee. Since thou hast left me, my Lord, never have I found rest. Everyone can hear my heart tremble whenever it hears thy sweet name. Every moment apart feels like Chaturmasya season. Oh, to whom shall I recite the pangs of separation? My restless eyes are anxiously waiting thy return. When wilt thou meet me, O Lord of Meera? Who art the bestower of joy and the allayer of sorrow? Why should I live without hurry, O Mother? For the dear one I have gone mad. It is like the worm eating out the wood. Medicines and roots do not work on me. It appears all madness to me. All day I feel no hunger, no peace. At night I have lost my sleep. The arrow of love has pierced my heart and passed beyond my comprehension. Family and kin have swarmed around like honeybees. Meera is the servant of Giridhar. The ridicule of this world has lost its sting for her. For thee have I forsaken all pleasures. Why dost thou keep me waiting? The Lord of my heart is delaying, and the clouds of sorrow are enveloping.
So beautiful. When we hear such words, it is different than reading the words, Bhakta should seek God. When we read, how she's expressing, see that expression of bhakti? It is that deep longing for Lord, that nothing else can possibly satisfy this craving that I have. So many times, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa once said, we cry for so many things in the world. One thing we never cry for is Lord. So we are always going on seeking different things, getting upset with them, getting upset with others, with ourselves, and yet we never stop and think, I am just in this cycle, procuring, not feeling fully satisfied, going for the next thing. And that this state really, if you see, right, that sometimes in the old days, I think now they have satellite and all these things, but before, if you were on the highway, to find out what is happening farther up on the highway, they used to have a helicopter. When we're in the car sitting, all we can see is what's directly in front of us, right? So it looks like a log jam. But then the helicopter, they'll come on the radio and say, it clears up right after this exit, they'll tell, right? Because when we are in one position, it looks like one thing. You might think, oh, big clear road ahead of me. Actually, because there's a block somewhere else. But the one who has a more, removed view, they've taken a step back. They can see the greater path that's unfolding in front. So for us also, when we're in the middle of the cycle, we're seeing that I'm getting some joy from this thing. And we're so focused on the joy that we don't count the sorrow as being a part of that joy. we count the sorrow as something separate. That maybe I can, they do some, not even magic trick, balancing act, where I can minimize the sorrows and get maximum joy from these worldly things. That's our underlying belief, But one of the hallmarks of worship, devotion to anything is the amount of tyaga we have for other things. So, bhakti is measured by tyag. How much love I have for something is directly proportional for what I am willing to give up for that. I say I love coffee. Actually, no, I shouldn't use that. Some people get very, if we don't get our coffee in the morning, right? But say, I love getting gulab jamun. Well, one day they don't have gulab jamun, we don't lose that much. So also, sometimes we give up so many things in place of, instead of giving up things for the Lord, we're giving up Lord for other things. So it shows how much devotion we have there. So Meera, we see, she has that level of tyaga from the world. Therefore, she has seen how small all our worldly pleasures are in the grand scheme of things. That what looks like, for us, what looks like pleasure and then pain, she sees all of it is actually pain only. If you just take a little step back. Even our most beloved ones, even that beloved child, at some point they become their own person. We have to send them out into the world. And we saw in Satsanga, Shubhananji said very beautifully, ultimately we are alone. This isn't meant to be frightening. This is meant to say, I should actually feel a great sense of self-actualization, because I know in my hands is my own future, my own destiny. That I don't have to wait on anyone else to tell me anything. Once I have that knowledge, it's up to me now to take it forward. So see, for Meera, her eyes, if we just read these lines, we'll see all of her body, her senses, that body identification is so less. That this instrument that I have, physical instrument, which are the body, senses, mind, all of them, she has dropped the identification with the worldly things and moved all of the instruments in the direction of Lord, fully. This is what in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, Bhagavan describes as part of bhakti. This is there in the, chapter 12 is known as a bhakti chapter. So, Bhagavan says, Shri Bhagavan uvacha Maya Veshya Mano Emam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetaha Te Me Yuktatamamataha. Says that those are considered bhaktas who are, they have first and foremost fixed their minds on me. Then, Nitya Yukta Upasate. They are also constantly in worship. Nitya Yukta. That means that even if they are, see, Mirabai, she left that palace and she wandered only singing the name of her Giridhar Gopal. Janabai, she was still engaged in external tasks, She had so many tasks to do as a servant. But both of them were worshipping in both types of actions, actually. It's not the action. It is the bhava with which the action is performed, expressed. So, mind fixed on me, fully immersed, then also performing worship. And what is the worship? In whichever action, whichever expression of that bhakta, that is worship only. That is why even that our Nisarga Dattaji Maharaj, he was a great realized master. He has that I am that. Oh my goodness. If you read even one page, your head will break. So deep, profound. He used to roll cigarettes. So the external action actually, it is not important. When you have the right mindset, okay. For us to get the right mindset, we have to at least do the right actions. So we shouldn't feel, oh, I will sit in my hammock and take nap, I'm also doing worship. One child said to his mother, Mom, children are very smart. He said, Mom, you told me God is everywhere. She said, yes, God is everywhere, my son. He said, is God in the temple? Yes. Is God in the house also? Yes. Is God in my room? Oh, yes. God is in my bed? Yes. Then why do I have to go to Balvihar? I'll just stay in my bed. I'll sleep. No, to get to this state, we need all of this alambana support. But the matured bhakta, great bhaktas, they have this quality, right? That mind is fully engaged in contemplation of the Lord all the time, that worship is being performed in all actions, right? And with shraddhaya. Then they also have supreme faith. This, it is said that anything in this world is obtainable, but are we willing to pay the price for it? Many times we want, but we don't want to pay the price. That is why Amazon has become so big, because we want to get the best deal. I'm telling you all, I'm very scared of this Temu. How is it so cheap? Somewhere somebody is paying for it. It's either the environment or it's human beings for us to get that price. So we want things, we don't want to pay that price. So price for Bhagavan is what? Shraddha, faith. Faith and sacrifice, tyag. If we give up these, if we inculcate Shraddha and give up worldly things, the reward is what? Bhagavan. That's a good reward, I think. Many times we say, well, I don't know. So we see that in Mirabai. How her full, entire devotion, attention was given only towards that. So how do we gain this quality of bhakti? First and foremost, we have to choose it ourselves. By knowing that there's blessing in that. So my sankalpa should change. My sankalpa should be, I should have great conviction. That is what Shraddha is. That joy, fulfillment is in that Lord. There's that very famous verse. It says, Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangas teshu pajayate. Sangat sanjayate kamaha, kamat krodho vijayate. It's like an equation actually. It's saying that whatever mind is focused on, mind develops an attachment to that thing. Then through that sangha, that dhyana now matures and becomes a calm. Now, why does calm lead to krodh? Because this is desire for some lesser thing. Lesser thing meaning anything that takes me farther from myself. Now, but that equation is interesting because we all know that equation works both directions. Both directions the equation should work out. So if thinking on worldly things, meaning thinking of my joy as being external to myself, keeps taking me down this path of krodha all the way to pranashyati, right? What happens when the object of the dhyana is not an object, worldly object, but becomes Lord as the object? Equation works the other direction also. Then you go from lower, remember we were seeing in morning satsanga, anything that takes us from the lower to the higher, lift. Elevator. No. Not the elevator, because who remembers from satsang? Elevator comes back down also. That's called a temporary lift. So, when the dhyana is towards the Lord, which is what verse is also speaking, then it doesn't lead to krodha, kama, krodha, all these other problems. It takes us in the opposite direction. which is also given in Bhajagovindam. Satsangatve nisangatvam. Nisangatve nirmohatvam. Nirmohatve nishchalatatvam. Nishchalatatve jivan bhukti. So when the object of our love is Lord, then it has a chain effect. Just like you have ladder of the fall, you have ladder of the rise. And where does it culminate? It culminates in the Bhakta and Bhagwan becoming one. And this is called as that state of infinitude, Jivan Mukti, fulfillment, total tripti, ananda. In Narada Bhakti Sutra, this bhakti is called as, what is bhakti? Sa twasmin parama prema rupa amrita swarupacha. Says bhakti is great parama prem. It means supreme love in that universal supreme. The love is also supreme, and the result of it, or the nature of the bhakti, is amrita. Amrita means immortal. It is the one source of immortality. Because one thing is that love, it is identifying, remember, if worldly attachment takes us towards kama, then attachment for Lord brings us closer to our own self. And that self is undying, undecaying, unchanging. It is of the nature of immortality. This is what, if we read later on, Maitreyi asks this question to sage Yajnavalkya. He says, I'm going to leave and go to the forest, and to you, and I will leave portion of my wealth. She says, through that wealth will I become immortal? Is the question, right? And obviously that answer was no. So she says, what will I use it for then, this wealth? I don't want it. If you don't want it, why should I want it? That's called passing the buck. He says, no, it's okay. So that bhakti, which is why is the bhakti of the nature of immortality? Because it takes us closer to our own self, where the Lord is also residing. And when the two become one, then there is no part, there is no separate. They become united. That is why it's called Advaita. Even one, the number one implies counting. It implies 2, 3, 4, or -1, 0, -1, 2, like that. But the tradition is not called Ekata. It's called Advaita. It means non-dual. Because when the two merge, it's not one, it is infinite. So that bhakti, which takes us to the infinite, is of the nature of immortality. Just like in Atma Bodh, those all of us who have studied that one, they have one beautiful verse that speaks about the sunrise and the dawn. It says, just like the dawn and the sunrise are called invariable concomitants. When one appears, the other one has to follow. Although sometimes now we can get that daylight clock alarm thing. Apparently it mimics daylight, and so it kind of like slowly starts to rise. So you might think, oh, the sun is rising. In the winter you need it because the sun is not rising for a little while longer. But that dawn and the sunrise are together. Therefore, you can speak about one as the other also. That dawn, you can also call it the full sunrise. So they say that getting the knowledge and getting mukti, these two are like one only. Because once the knowledge is there, ultimately it will have its effect. So in the same way, this bhakti is also called Amrita Swarupa, is of the nature of immortality. Why? Because once that bhakti has irrevocably lodged itself in the heart of the bhakta, then ultimate union has to come. It's like once we see the dawn, sunrise has to come. Bhagavan can't say, okay, Aruna, you go. I'm going to take a nap. It won't happen. They'll come together. right? So, how do we get this type of bhakti? By choosing it. How do we choose it? By knowing what to sacrifice and what also is going to be the fruit. Okay, fruit is this immortal love for the Lord and that which is complete fulfillment, right? So this is that beauty. So we are going to see now, how do we walk that path? So this is going to come from our Laleshwari, whom we saw last year also. She has a very beautiful verse. It's on page 136. So it starts with, I practiced. I think there might be one or two on that page.
I practiced what I knew and learned what was not taught. From its jungle abode, I brought the lion down as a jackal would. From the pleasures of the world, I pulled my mind away. I practiced what I preached and attained the goal.
Wonderful. So, she says something, just the way that she juxtaposes these ideas together is so beautiful. You know, she says, I practiced what I read, and at the same time, I learned what was not taught. This is what we were talking about, right? What we read about is, this is what is bicycle. But then I had to learn what cannot be taught, which is that sense of balance. Because in the path of bhakti, right, we have to also think, what is my role and what is Bhagwan's role in the art of love that's happening, right? In the union of Bhakta and Bhagwan, what is my part and what is Bhagwan's part? You know, or is it all my job, or is some of it or all Bhagwan's job? Sometimes we do opposite. Bhagwan, I don't have to do anything. You know, if I say I love you, you'll fix everything for me. You know? This is a cheat code. We're trying to put in the little cheat code into life, you know? But actually, there is something we must conquer. This is what she says. And she describes it, you know, from its jungle abode, I brought the lion down as a jackal would. So what is the jungle? In Viveka Chudamani, they describe all the Vishaya, worldly objects, as being the jungle. Vishayaranyam. Because when we go out, there are so many pleasing things that we see, you know? And even if we're sitting there quietly, they come to us now, because you get a ding on your phone, and then it says, you know, they've become so sophisticated. If you're talking with someone about something, you'll see it on your phone. So even if we're trying to do this, they're coming for us. You know? All these Vishaya, very, very tempting. So that jungle is there, and in that jungle, you have this lion. So why lion and jackal, these two are given? I was thinking about all the Panchatantra stories. You know, that lion, it is very powerful. But even in the Panchatantra stories, that jackal will cleverly manipulate the lion and get whatever it was trying to do, you know? So in that whole forest of all of this Vishaya, that desire or calm, that mind which is untamed, like that strong, powerful lion, she has conquered. Through what? Through practicing what she has learned. Through that practice only, these words are all related to each other, right? The ideas are all related. This is our job as Bhakta. This is where my role comes into play. That I have to put forth effort to conquer my mind. If we give in to everything that our mind asks for, then we're not conquering it, you know? We're pampering it. It is said, one of our teachers gave such a beautiful example. He said, we invite all of comforts to be our slave. Then they enter and stay as a beloved guest. And in the end, they rule as the master. You know, this becomes our trajectory. But to conquer that mind, to put forth effort in that direction, this is only through, see, why is the jackal there given? Because the jackal represents one who uses their intelligence and understanding to outwit the problem. Because you cannot do it through brute force. I have so many desires. So what should the solution be? Get a lot of money, get all the desires. Many people tried that approach. That's why it's interesting to see, if we just think, that richest people on this planet, do you know what they're trying to do? They're trying to build a colony on Mars. Really, I talked to someone who, he's an engineer or something, and I was asking, what kind of engineering do you do? He said, well, we're working with some of the companies that are trying to put some colony there on Mars. So you have all the wealth in the world, and even the entire Earth is not enough. We have to go to another planet. This is mind. So that lion, we cannot bring that lion down through, just getting more and more things. It has to be brought down through understanding, through that analysis that we saw. And practicing what I preached. Our Puja Gurudev used to say, nothing we speak should be something that we don't practice ourselves. Otherwise, it becomes it becomes like a play, drama. And we also slowly start to lose confidence in that of which we are speaking also, because we're not in alignment with it, It's like telling, you must practice your music, and we never practice. Right? That alignment and attunement cannot happen. Right? So, from the pleasures of the world, I pulled my mind away. By pulling the mind away, that mind becomes tamed, quiet. And through that, I attain the goal. So that goal can be only Lord. So, this is for us to understand, because sometimes we think we have we have one idea that bhakti is easier path. I'll become Bhakta because it's easier. No, when Bhagavan says that Bhaktas are one who have fully devoted their minds to me, we think it's easy? Mind cannot even stop from thinking about coffee and tea. Right? And I include all of us. We're all bhaktas on same path. We're working on it. But anytime the mind kind of gives this little, objection, we should say, aha, now I know where my mind is. So this is that, bhakti is not easier path. Bhakti is different path. That's all. Each path has its own particular difficulties, nuances, pitfalls. It just has to be which one I would like to take up. It's like at some point when we're looking at the kids, we know kids have to do some extracurriculars. So which extracurricular would I like to put my child into? Ideally, the one they like. Oh, do you like sports? Okay, we'll put you into soccer. You like music? Okay, which instrument would you like to play? Violin, tabla, mridangam. Which one would you like to play? So, because everybody has different temperaments. So, if there's a big mountaintop, there are some, like we saw, who want to go straight to the top of the mountain. They don't want to go sideways, sightseeing, nothing. They want to go straight up, very steep. They enjoy that. And then some others, they like the path. They want to take a little longer time. Or, they're enjoying that process. Or they're just doing it in a different way. So, both get same fulfillment and enjoyment out of their path. So, in the same way, that bhakta also has their own mountain to conquer. We cannot, get away from that part. We just have to choose which one suits us the best. But what's nice about bhakti is that love is its own reward. With studies, you have to keep breaking your head. But with bhakti, the path is love, destination also is love. You're just going from a little bit, this type of love that has to grow and grow and grow to total and complete fulfillment in love. But it has that, that path also has a lot of sweetness, sukha. But we have to be willing to give up different things. So we will see more now that we understand what is the gems, or what is the beauty in this path. What is the value of it? Now we have to understand the art. So we will see more the Bhakta's beautiful compositions. And please, spend time with each other also speaking about these topics. And our wonderful teachers are also here. And I do my pranams to all of them, to our Puja Gurudev, to our Swamiji, who are really making this all possible. And enjoy. Enjoy being in the company of other Bhaktas. I think that is the most special part, actually. No? Okay. So we'll just spend a few moments. We'll sing the Lord's name and then we'll close. Govinda Jai Jai Gopala Jai Jai. Govinda Jai Jai Gopala Jai Jai. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai. Govinda Jai Jai Gopala Jai Jai. Govinda Jai Jai Gopala Jai Jai. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai. Govinda Jai Jai Gopala Jai Jai. Govinda Jai Jai Gopala Jai Jai. Gopala Jai Jai. Gopala Jai Jai. Shri Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.